Don't forget the Arekkz Gaming Festive Sweater and the limited edition pins are on sale right now. If you want to support all the cool stuff we've been doing, then you can pick one of these up and look super awesome in your office Christmas party. Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here, welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And today I want to talk about Stygian Zinogre weapons. I've been farming Stygian for the past week and whatnot, testing out some of the weapons, seeing what is good, seeing what's worth crafting, and today I want to put together my top 5 Stygian Zinogre weapons that you should either check out for either cool factor or for their actual potential viability. And there are some really good ones in here. There's also a fair few that are kind of average. The melee weapons, at least for Stygian Zinogre, when they dropped, it was not exactly clear where their placement was because they weren't highest in Dragon, they weren't highest in Raw, and given that they are Rarity 12 weapons, they also don't have the custom augment, so there's kind of a bit of an odd placement for them. However, amidst the 14, there are definitely a few worth talking about. And the very first one is the Heavy Bowgun. Now this is, firstly, just on a pure aesthetic point of view, very, very cool, right? The Stygian Zinogre Bowgun is form factor wise basically identical to the Zinogre Bowgun, only it's got that nice black, white and red colour scheme, so bonus points for that. However, if you then turn your attention to the upgraded version, the Rarity 12 version, what's interesting here is when you take a look at the ammo. This is, for all intents and purposes, very similar to the Loyal Thunder, the normal Zinogre Bowgun, the one that is basically one of the best ones to use right now. Anybody that's running that kind of big powerhouse heavy bowgun build is using the Loyal Thunder. Now, this one is very, very similar. It does have 10 more raw, so out the gate, you might think, well, hold on a minute, is this not just a direct upgrade? But there is one ever so slight caveat. See, this one, the main difference is that it'll actually need 2 recoil mods if you want to get spread 3 down to recoil 1. You'll see that it is currently on recoil 2, and of course, if you want to get that down to recoil 1, you're going to have 2 recoil mods. And of course, if you compare that to the typical Loyal Thunder setup, you only need 1 recoil mod to get that down to recoil 1, meaning you can then put in 2 close range mods, a shield if you want it, your special scope, that kind of thing. So on the mod front, it's a little bit of a step backwards in that respect, because of course, close range mods are a noticeable damage increase, and having to drop that for another recoil mod, yes, you could argue that you could just potentially not get the other recoil and have to deal with it, but it's not exactly ideal in a combat situation. So all up, it's one of those things where while you're technically speaking getting 10 more raw, you are trading that for a slot, which arguably isn't exactly worth it. So you can't say, or you can't look at this and be like, this is without question 100% flat out better. But I would say I'm like a big proponent of just kind of doing what you want in Monster Hunter, using what you like, and they are very similar, right? So you can definitely still get some value out of this, you can definitely still enjoy it, and if you happen to be crafting it and you're like, you know what, I never crafted the Loyal Thunder, and Stygian Zinogre I can just craft outright, I can get to it quicker, I've been farming it, just make it, right? It's still good, it's still got great potential, you can still put it into one of those heavy bowgun builds and get great mileage out of it, so while it might not be a direct upgrade, like a flat out categorical upgrade to the Loyal Thunder, it's still a decent weapon. So heavy bowgun is worth talking about. The next one is the light bowgun. Now this one is very interesting because this is, in fact, the Stygian Zinogre weapons. There are 2 of them that have brought something kind of brand new to the table that we haven't really had before. And for the light bowgun, that is the ability to have spread 3 on recoil 1. Now, yes, of course, there is some commitment to this one. If you want to do that, you are going to have to put in 2 recoil mods, and considering you only have 4 slots, that does eat into your other potential options. Because typically, you're of course going to want to run a couple of close range mods on this, so you're then in a situation where you either have to sacrifice your close range mods for, say, the reload mods if you want to increase that reload speed, because keep in mind, normally spread 3 is pretty slow on the reload front, so if you put those in, then you can get it down to, normal reload on spread 3, which is cool, but then you've completely sacrificed your close range mods. So it's one of those ones where it's cool that it's kind of given us that as an option, but of course there are some sacrifices to be made. However, just the flat out reason that we have the ability to have spread 3 with normal recoil is actually quite cool. You also have your rapid fire on spread 2, so this, as bowguns go, is definitely a pretty potent offering, and it's for sure something you can get some good use out of, some good mileage out of. So again, on the bowgun front, Stygian Zinogre has actually been pretty kind. Moving on from there, the next one is the Gun Lance. Now this one is very cool because this actually lines up quite nicely with how I personally like to play Gun Lance. If you guys are Gun Lance users, you will know that Gun Lance play falls typically into either long, normal, or wide, and I've always been a normal Gun Lance player. I like the full burst playstyle, I've mentioned this before, and what's really cool about the Stygian Zinogre one is for the first time we have level 7 normal shells, which is nuts. Up until this point, we've had level 6, and of course, when Rajan came about, he gave us level 6 wide, but the fact that we've now got level 7 normal is actually pretty potent. I put together a set for this one that is basically just like an artillery focus setup that I could just do the normal, typical full burst spam playstyle and puts out some great damage. So if you're a Gunlance player, you like that normal playstyle, the Stygian Zinogre one, maybe not necessarily the highest raw, but it's got plenty of purple. I mean, just normally, even if you don't run handicraft, but if you do happen to have handicraft, you can have a sizable purple sharpness bar in here. And keeping in mind, normal playstyle does of course rip through that sharpness, so having that purple to dig into is quite nice. You've got some added dragon in there, and the fact that you've got normal 7, level 7 normal shelling type, should I say, then that is without question worth checking out. After that, I'll admit the last two are kind of here more so for aesthetic value. There's basically 2 reasons I pick weapons. I either pick weapons because they're very good, or I pick weapons because they look awesome. Because in a game like this where you hunt monsters and you craft cool stuff, I want to look cool, alright? So that is ultimately one of the biggest drivers for me in Monster Hunter. And the longsword is incredibly cool. I want to give a massive shout out to Trevin Singh from the comments. I uploaded the Stygian Zinogre hunt at the weekend, and kind of in that hunt we had our voices and we were sort of chatting about it, and 2Six mentioned like, oh, I wish some of these weapons actually had that sort of lightning effect from Zinogre. And Trevin said in the comments, yo, go and get the guys to go and craft the longsword. So out of curiosity, I went and did it, and oh my gosh, this thing is incredible. It's like a lightsaber. I mean, I already saw that from the picture. I already saw that it looked cool, but when you actually go and build the spirit gauge, you actually get this pulsating lightning, the red lightning, this Sith looking lightning around your blade. That alone is reason to use this weapon. Again, might not have the highest raw, might not have the highest dragon, does have a decent degree of purple. You can 100% make this work, and then you can look like a badass in the process. And then finally, very similar reason, is the hammer, of course. I mentioned before when Zinogre came about, Zinogre hammer in general has always been one of my favourite hammers. It just looks really cool. I love the sort of aggressive face to it, the fact that it's got all the hair at the back, or the fur at the back. And this one, again, added bonus that when you actually charge it up, it's not kind of like the Rajang one, where when you go into the power charge, it kind of changes form. Instead, simply when you're just charging up and you get into like level 3 charge and you're holding down the trigger, then you have this lightning pulsating amidst the fur at the back. Not quite as prominent as, say, the longsword, so I've put it kind of here, but regardless, it is still very cool. You're going to be charging your hammer a lot if you're using this weapon, so it's for sure something you will see quite frequently. So pair the fact that it looks awesome, again, with this pulsating effect, then yeah, this one is definitely great. Again, exact same principle, not necessarily the highest damage, not necessarily the highest dragon, but purple sharpness and that very cool effect. So that, for the time being, is it. Those are my top 5 Stygian Zinogre weapons. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Of course, be sure to keep it locked, because at the end of the week, our attention is turning to Safi Jiva. We'll have a ton of new weapons to start farming and talking about, so there will be plenty of videos for you guys to enjoy. I've got loads of things planned, so definitely keep it locked. And of course, in the meantime, let me know in the comments down below what your favourite Stygian Zinogre weapon is. Maybe you've crafted something I didn't talk about. Either way, let me know. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and also click on the little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next upload. Also, don't forget, you can check out 269 and Paradise Central streaming over on Twitch 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. Be sure to drop by and get involved. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.